All right. Now it's time for a little fantasy football. Got our guy D Nasty back, Dave. But your Packers, man, what's going on there?
I'm loving it, man. Jordan Love, I think they're finally starting to gel as a team, and I think the younger guys are starting to play up now and starting to learn a little bit, starting to play how they should be. So I think they could be a little scary team if they keep improving like this every week. It's kind of fun watching them play now.
Feeling the love for Jordan Love lately. Yeah, it was a bad spot for the Chiefs, but still, I mean, you guys racked up a bunch of victories in a row. You got an outside shot at the playoffs now. Just it's interesting. This NFC's kind of just shooken up a little bit. You got, your AFC South. I'm guessing they get no wild cards out of that thing.
No, definitely not. The
It's
division
going to
we're in, one
be
might even have a 500 record in that division.
well, Seattle's in trouble. You got Minnesota's kind of the Packers are hot. Um, Obviously Detroit's winning the division, San Francisco the division, but you got the Cowboys or the Eagles. One of those are taking a wild card. So that's going to be very interesting. And they play each other coming up this week, Dave. But man,
Huge
yeah,
game.
yeah, the Packers certainly for a fantasy value for Jordan Love, it went from 0 to a lot more. So I'm kind of happy about that a little bit too.
Oh yeah, two straight weeks in a row. He's throwing 3 TDs and no interceptions, actually, which is kind of nice. And plus, they have a nice schedule coming up too. A bunch of cake games and like the Giants, and then the Panthers, and then the Bears.
Yeah, totally. It's crazy. But we'll see what happens. There's a lot of football to be played left, and here we are, fantasy football week 14. Dave, who's our buys?
All right, let me get into that. I'd be happy to. We have a few buys this week. We only have two actually this week though, and these aren't going to be major ones either, like the past couple weeks. Cardinals that we have on bye. Kyler Murray, he's actually been playing pretty well since he's come back. James Conner, Trey McBride, those are going to be the main guys. Maybe Marquise Brown, possibly, and then Michael Wilson, but he hasn't played for 3 or 4 weeks, so you're probably not starting him anyways. So, but those are the main guys for the Cardinals that you want to get on your bench this week. The Commanders, Sam Howell, he was hot for 3 weeks and then he kind of cooled off over the last couple weeks. But if you were starting him for some reason, get him on your bench. Brian Robinson, he might be starting for some people right now. Logan Thomas, he's borderline starter, probably not starting him. Terry McLaurin, and possibly Jahan Dotson. He was hot for a little while too, and he's kind of cooled off as well. But not a lot of major players for fantasy wise this week. Kyler Murray is going to be the big one this week, and James Conner. But other than that, not a lot of key fantasy players will be on bye this week.
Oh, for sure. The Cardinals and Bengals. Yeah, I mean the Bengals did have more, but those guys are kind of benchable, like the T. Higginses, and the
No, we got
boy.
the Commanders and Cardinals.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I meant Commanders. I wrote Bengals. That's why I said the Bengals are on right now. That's all my man. But no, Commanders. I mean, those guys too. McLaurin, dude, he got 0 points last week, Dave. 0 freaking
Killed me.
points.
I started him
Oh,
over Christian Watson, which was a bad move on my part because of the matchup. I like the matchup, and Watson struggled the last couple weeks. He had one good week out of I don't know how many weeks. And then he gets injured at the end too, which we got to keep an eye on as well. But we'll get into that in a minute here.
yes, we'll get into that because there's a lot of injuries that popped up this week. Just in this game, this awful Jaguars Bengals game, the Bengals are playing like a Super Bowl team right now. What the hell happened? They got this momentum, and I don't know. Looks like Lawrence just got hurt, just got nailed. They lost one of their best receivers, Christian Kirk, in the very beginning of the game, so I might as well mention him right off the bat. But
Yeah, they're seeing
Christian,
groin injury for Christian Kirk right already.
so Zay Jones will probably make the waiver wire then, if he's available. Uh, Marquise Brown injured his heel, so he's questionable for the Cardinals anyway, but he's going to be out this week anyway. Amari Cooper, he had a head injury last game. He had to leave early. That kind of helped things spin away for the Browns last week. Um, what else? Christian Watson, right, Dave? He had a hammy.
Hammy, yep. Christian
Yep,
Watson went down the hammy. Tate Dell suffered a fractured fibula, out
that's
for
the
the rest
big
of
one.
the year. That
Yeah,
is a
that's the
huge
big
one.
one. Yeah, Tank Dell broke his fibula. That was awful. Reminder: Stevenson hurt his ankle in the beginning. Derek Carr had a concussion. What else is new, right?
Exactly.
Kenny Pickett hurt his ankle pretty bad, maybe out a month or longer. Running back Brian Robinson hurt his hamstring. And what else did I miss? Zach Charbonnet on Thursday, Dave. He had a bruised knee in his week to week, too. But Walker might be back this week, Dave.
Yep, those are a lot of the key ones. And then one other one too. Derrick Henry actually too left with a concussion this week. Did not return. Taj Spears actually filled in for him pretty admirably. So that was the other major one there out there as well.
Yeah, they
And then,
said today that he's not concussed. So that was very strange.
oh,
Vrabel
really?
will say no. Yeah, Vrabel is saying he's fine today. There's some tweets out about it.
Okay. Well, just keep an eye on that just in case, though. And then CJ Huzma for the Jets actually had an injury as well, but you're probably not starting him as anyway. And then Tyler Higbee has a concussion as well and did not return.
Yeah, Higbee.
Actually left the game too briefly and came back in. So just keep an eye on that situation as well too, because he's a little banged up as well.
All right, good stuff. Let's move into the waiver wire, Dave. Who are we picking up?
All right. The first one I got is Taj Spears. With the Derrick Henry being banged up, Taj Spears got a majority of the carries. He actually looked really good actually when he came in.
Look good. He did. Yep, I agree.
So if he is banged up, I would just handcuff him if he's out there. Not a lot of buys this week, so you can probably throw him on your bench as well, just in case Henry is not fully healthy, or if he does get injured again. Definitely a handcuff you want to have right now because he did look very good when he was in there. He had 26.6 points per game over the last 8 contests. So, I'm sorry, the Bengals have given up 26.6 points over the last 8 contests, and they have given up already 28 points tonight. And that's their matchup for next week. So it's a good matchup actually for Henry or Spears, whoever plays next week. So definitely pick up right there. Ramon Stevenson left in the first quarter. That's another injury we forgot to cover with an ankle sprain.
I mentioned that.
Oh, you did? Okay. Him. Yeah. So Elliott did fill in for him. He had 17 carries, 52 rushing yards, 4 or 5 targets for 40 receiving yards. So definitely pick up Ezekiel Elliott if he is out there. I don't know if you mentioned DeAndre Swift as well. He left with a huge hit. They're saying he could have a concussion as well. And then hopefully he should be fine, but he may miss time. Either way, Kenneth Gainwell is a great waiver wire pickup right now. Gainwell was heavily involved after he left. He had a 54% snap share after he left. So definitely pick him up if you need a running back. Roscoe Johnson, actually, before the bye, he did get quite a few carries. Looks like they're kind of shifting over to him possibly. They might give him a majority of the carries going forward, even with Khalil healthy now. Johnson got 10 carries for 35 yards and caught all 5 of his targets for 40 receiving yards before the bye. So if he is out there, I would definitely add him if possible.
Trevor Lawrence just got hurt, man. He is limping. They're taking him to the locker room. He was banging the ground. He is in trouble, man. Just barely can walk. That is not good.
Dude. Major injury.
Another quarterback going down. That looks like it could be serious and possibly the end of Trevor Lawrence. Oh man.
CJ Beathard would be another guy we want to add right now then as well. He's a backup for Trevor Lawrence, so definitely add him if possible. Elijah Moore with Amari Cooper injury with a concussion. Elijah Moore actually came in and filled in pretty well for him. Joe Flacco actually looked pretty good for depending on Flacco's up there in age, but he still looks pretty good. And he still's got the strong arm, so he's actually throwing some dimes out there this past week. So add Elijah Moore if you're in need of a receiver this week. He will be filling in, and Moore finished with a 78% route participation and 28% target share. So he had 4 catches on 12 targets for 83 yards. So Elijah Moore is a guy to definitely watch. Romeo Doubs, another guy. With the Watson injury, he might get more looks now as well. Even with Jaden Reed getting more looks lately, Doubs actually had a couple nice catches, and he had a nice game this past week as well. Nice catch on a 4th down. I love that actually catch. That was a huge catch. But another guy is Jonathan Mingo for the Panthers. Adam Thielen kind of took a step back the last couple weeks. He posted 2 of his lowest target shares in any of his games this year with 13 and 19% target share. So they're definitely looking to get Jonathan Mingo more involved with the new coaching staff that they have that took over. So I would definitely get him pick up. The results of this past week were 6 catches, 10 targets, and 69 yards. So he had a 38% target share as well. So definitely a guy you wanted to pick up. And if anyone forgot to pick up Isaiah Likely, definitely pick him up. Baltimore Ravens are off a bye this week and likely should see quite a few targets this week. And then the defense I would be looking at streaming this week is the Colts. They had a nice matchup actually this week. And they're facing the Bengals offense that hasn't been good until actually, well, tonight. But I don't like Browning that much still as well. And the Colts actually have a solid defense as well. So if you need a streaming defense next week, they're one to stream next week.
No, good stuff. Oh man, but looks like the Bengals might win this game. This is not looking good at all for the Jaguars. A lot of survivors just got destroyed this week too with the Steelers, and now the Jaguars. They are the two most common survivor picks. Just absolutely insane. Oh man, so Mitch Trubisky, he's gonna be a big pickup.
Yeah, that's a good pickup too.
Yeah, and you can say Trevor Siemian for Boyle, but I don't really like him.
Well, now they're rumoring that Zach Wilson might start again, is what they're saying now. So who knows? That quarterback situation's a mess. I would just stay away from that whole situation.
I would too. Jameis Winston is back on the waiver wire too, just back and forth every week. I agree with Tyja Spears and now CJ Beathard for the Trevor Lawrence injury. Huge, man. I like your Roshan Johnson. If he's not owned by now, he should be owned. So keep that in mind. Ezekiel Elliott for sure for the Stevenson. I think you mentioned that. Noah Brown for the Dell injury, right, Dave? And I think John Mechie too, because Mechie's going to take a bigger role because of that. Greg Dortch, the Torch, was pretty good for the Marquise Brown injury. So we'll see what Dortch the Torch can do. Elijah Moore, I like what you said there. Agree with that. Jaden Reed, we've said that every week, but now Christian Watson's probably hammied again. So there you go. Chris Rodriguez for the Brian Robinson. Maybe if Brian Robinson can't go as a streamer too. Chase Brown, he's getting a ton of carries tonight, man. A ton.
I know, I can't believe it. He's already gotten 8 carries or more. Even he might even got a few since I've been watching. But yeah, Chase Brown's looked good tonight, actually.
They're trying to see what they have in him so they can dump Mixon's ass next year because he's paid a lot. Ooh, big sack for the Jags. They needed that. DJ Dallas for the Charbonnet injury. I got him as a waivers as well, Dave. There's just a ton of them this week, man. Fantasy football playoffs is going to be definitely in turmoil. Let's move into the non-starters trending up for week 14. I have a few. Running back A.J. Dillon for against the Giants is a great matchup. So you got to love A.J. Dillon there. Giants are terrible run D. Devin Singletary versus the Jets. The Jets run D is getting worse and worse. And you saw it last week. It's not looking good. I like Devin Singletary. Right back, Ty Chandler versus the Raiders looks nice to me too. Tight end Kylan Granson against the Bengals is interesting because Evan Ingram had a monster game. The Bengals actually give up the second most yards to tight ends. Jerry Jeudy versus the Chargers. I think he's going to ball out. The Chargers give up a ton of passing yards when they play an actual quarterback. Drake London versus the Buccaneers could have a good game as well. So I like Drake London and Elijah Moore against the Jaguars. The Jaguars are just giving away massive chunks of yards to Jake Browning right now. I like Elijah Moore next week against the Jaguars. Tight end Gerald Everett versus the Broncos could be massive. Broncos have the worst D against tight ends, and the Chargers don't have much to throw to. Everett is borderline nasty sleeper, buddy. It was him and another guy, but we'll see when we get that far. And then I definitely love tight end Isaiah Likely against the Rams, third worst team to give up yards to tight ends. Dave, who do you got?
Yeah, I like a lot of those, actually. I like Najee Harris this week against the Patriots. Patriots are just struggling all around on defense and offense. I think they run the ball a little bit more with Trubisky at quarterback. I
disagree with that. The Patriots actually have the number. That's the only thing they do is stop the run. They're number 5 run defense. So I disagree with that. He was in my bus.
Okay. Well, actually, then I'm gonna upgrade Mr. Trubisky then because I like the Steelers against the Patriots. I think they bounced back after the tough loss this past week, and they need to win this game. This is a must-win for them, almost to stay in the playoff hunt. So I agree with you on the Najee Harris. I'll downgrade him, but I do like Trubisky then against the Patriots. I do like actually I like Desmond Ridder this week against the Buccaneers. They have one of the worst pass defenses, and I like Brian Robinson too. He's Bijan Robinson too as well. He's borderline starter though. So, but I do like the Isaiah Likely pick and Zay Flowers too. Definitely like him. Odell Beckham, actually, a lot of people forgot about. He actually was playing well before the bye, the last couple games before the bye. So ODB, I like against the Rams defense as well. I do like Williams for the Detroit Lions and Josh Reynolds. I think either one of them could have a big game against the Bears if they're trying to double cover possibly Amon-Ra and St. Brown. So I do like that matchup. I like the Granson pick actually as well. And Gardner Minshew I like too. I like that. I like him against the Bengals. I do another one I do like. I do like Jameson Winston against the Panthers. I think he could have a big game this week. And Taysom Hill. I was going to say I like Taysom Hill as well. Taysom Hill has been playing well the last couple of weeks for he's tight end eligible, so I like that. I like Devin Singletary, but actually Pierce actually looked like he moved ahead of Singletary this past week though. So I'm going to say Damian Pierce instead of Singletary though, because he got more carries than Singletary did this past week. Almost doubled up on carries over Singletary, but that backfield's kind of hard to read as well. But I'm going to say Damian Pierce for them. I like that matchup. Jordan Addison, keep an eye on him. He was injured before the break, so we'll see if he comes back this week. But he should play. I like Jordan Addison against the Raiders, poor defense. And then the other one I do agree with you on A.J. Dillon, and I like Jordan Love against the Giants as well. I like both those guys against that poor Giants defense.
Oh, good stuff. That's a lot of them too. So we're both on the same page. What about some bust, Dave?
All right. Well, I will change my mind, and I will agree with you on the Najee Harris, so I'm downgrading him. I do not like actually Kyron Williams against the Ravens, tough D. That's going to be tough sledding against them. And Stafford, he had a good game last week, but I don't think he has as good of a game this week against the Ravens. The Lions, I was going to downgrade some of the Bears, but I think the Lions have been kind of shaky on defense lately, so I'm going to pass over that one. I'm going to say Travis Etienne against the Browns. Browns have a good run D, and they have a good D overall. And plus, if Lawrence is out next week, they might be keying off on the run, so I'm going to definitely downgrade him as well. I don't like anyone on the Panthers, even though Mingo, it looks like he's stepping up now. I don't like him or Thielen this week. I know a lot of people are probably starting Thielen, but I don't like them as well. I don't like any Jets quarterback this week. Right, the Texans have been playing a lot better defense, and that Jets quarterback situation is just a mess. So I'm not touching any of them this week. Another one I'm not going to start this week is Geno Smith. Even though he's a borderline starter right now, the San Francisco 49ers are just dominant right now. They beat the two best teams in the NFC, and the Eagles and the Cowboys, and they dismantled both of them. So the 49ers are just scary right now. I don't think anyone's going to really beat them right now. So Geno Smith, definitely downgrading him, and DK Metcalf, even though he had a huge game last week. I don't like any of them. I'm downgrading the Bills actually this week. The Bills running backs at least. James Cook, I don't like it this week against the tough Chiefs D. They're playing at Kansas City, so it's different than playing at Lambeau. And I think they're coming off that loss, so they'll definitely be mad about that. So I don't like that matchup. And I don't like the Eagles matchup against the Cowboys. Cowboys D is still legit. Eagles D has been struggling, so I'm definitely downgrading that backfield Gainwell or Swift. I don't like either one of them. And downgrading Devontae Smith probably against that tough Cowboys defense as well. Or actually maybe even A.J. Brown, depending on who Ron Bland was covering. He did look kind of bad last week, but I think he steps it up this week, and he plays better this week.
All right, a lot of busts. Agree with some of those. Let me pull up mine real quick. I have Jahmyr Gibbs. So, Dave, I like your call on that. And guess which defense gives up the least amount of rushing yards right now?
Bears.
The Bears and the Niners tied, buddy. So how do you like that? That's not bad. I never thought I'd see that this year. But, they started very, very unhealthy, and those two big nose tackles they drafted are looking pretty good so far. Those three techniques. So
yeah, didn't I just tell you too? I said I like the Bears this week. I'm like I'm not downgrading anyone against them for once.
Yeah, the Bears are kind of creeping up on some teams. People are just disrespecting them a little bit, and I mean, guys like Dexter and Pickens and Andrew Billings are just stuffing the run. Oh, Beathard just fumbled, but they got the ball back. Jesus. He just loves to lose games. Unreal. All right, let's move on to Jerome Ford versus the Jaguars. I don't like that so much. I think the Jaguars were good at stopping the run until they faced this crazed Bengals team that was disrespected. So I don't know what to think about that anymore. Kenneth Walker versus the Niners. Even if Kenneth Walker comes back, I don't like the matchup against the Niners. Kareem Hunt against the Jaguars. Not sure about that either, but we'll see. Najee Harris versus the Patriots has a rough matchup, so me and you are the same with that. Kyron Williams versus the Ravens. Totally agree with you on that. That's a bad matchup. Puka Nacua versus the Ravens too, man. I hate to say it. Puka got a little banged up with his AC joint this week too. He's
And the
supposed to
ribs,
play.
he's got a rib injury too, so he's being up all around. Kind of like Carr. Carr's got like the concussions, shoulder, back. He's just a
Mhm.
mess too.
Yeah. And then Nico Collins versus the Jets is a little bit rough too. Nico Collins will get a lot of touches, but they might put sauce on him. And I think that Brown or Mechie is going to be the better receiver that because Sauce Gardner is just that good. All right. Time for a nasty sleeper, Dave. What do you got?
All right, well, this is kind of a homer pick, but I got to do it though, man. Jordan Love. Jordan Love is going to be the fantasy winner this week for you against that poor Giants D, and he's been putting up numbers the last couple games here. Got him on a nice win streak against the Lions and the Chiefs, two tough opponents. So going with Jordan Love as my D nasty sleeper this week.
All right, Jordan, the love machine. Hey guys, I lost Tank Dell. Any suggestions to replace him? Yeah, I would say Brown for sure. Brown's going to get a ton of passes from CJ Stroud, and then Mechie too. But I trust Brown more right
I'd say
now. He's a
Brown
bigger
first, yeah,
guy.
definitely.
He's bigger, yeah, better target. He says OBJ. I like OBJ this week. Dave does too. Demario Douglas, no, he's banged up. I think Joshua
He didn't
Palmer.
crush it, but he didn't play this past week. But if he's back, I like Mario Douglas too. But I think I go
Yeah,
OBJ.
he doesn't have he doesn't have a quarterback. That's another problem. Jalen
That's it. I
Hyatt.
agree.
Jalen Hyatt doesn't have a quarterback either. Maybe what's his face Daniel Jones comes back, but
They're
I
saying
just
Tyrod Taylor's back this week, actually. But I definitely agree with you. I think Noah Brown and OBD is probably their two best pickups right now to replace Tank Dell.
yeah, I would say so too. And Lamar's passing the ball better with that good offense now. Um, and my nasty sleeper, Zach Moss against the Bengals, although the Bengals are stopping the run a little bit too. But I think this could be more of a fluke. But my other one, just in case, is Gerald Everett from the Chargers against the Broncos. I think Gerald Everett has a hell of a game. I like Everett a lot. I've always liked him as a tight end. So Gerald Everett and Zach Moss is it from me. And so hopefully that one of those guys wins your fantasy league. Dave, anything we miss?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, get those lineups set, make that final push for those playoff spots. Playoffs are gonna be starting in the next week or two here, most leagues. So definitely get your lineup set and good luck to everyone this week. Go Pack.
Go Bears. Best of luck, everyone. Have a great week and go get some winners.